Growing up in America, there was never any Chinese Americans on TV or Chinese on TV, period. So that's why I watched Jackie Chan and Jet Li and all those things and watched Hong Kong movies and Chinese movies because those were the only way I could get Chinese people on my screen. And so it's kind of good to see 40 years later, although it took a very long time, to finally see Chinese faces on American television.
Starring the show is a lot of work, but you're also the executive producer. How did that happen, and can you balance the two?
So originally, I was only the executive producer. I was not meant to star in the show because my producing partner, Stacey Scher, she called me one day and said she wanted to make a show like this for AMC and wanted to have a lot of martial arts, and she didn't know how to do the martial arts side. And I said, well, the only way you can do that is if you use a Hong Kong crew because we work very fast. And on the TV schedule, you have to work very fast. So she brought me on as executive producer to bring the martial arts side to the show. And that meant bringing Stephen Fung, my partner, as an executive producer who ended up becoming the fight director. And then Didi Ku, who's our martial arts choreographer. And then, of course, the stuntmen from China that we brought in. Originally, I was just organizing this side of the show. And then when AMC started to cast, they said they wanted the lead to be an Asian person. And so they started to audition a whole bunch of people. We saw lots of people who either were very good martial artists but had no acting ability or had no acting experience, or very good actors that had no martial arts experience. And then we did find a handful of people who could do both. But I think AMC was still not satisfied with the choices we had. So the rest of the producers said, you know, Daniel, this part is really made for you. You have to try it out.
It's a wasteland.
It's difficult because it's very challenging to shoot. We had, in this one season, 6 episodes, there's 12 fights, very intricate fights, very difficult fights.
Sonny, you can't outrun who you are.
I got the role. I did really like the Sonny character a lot. So I think it was a good thing. In the end, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad that it was me that eventually ended up doing it, but it wasn't planned that way in the beginning.
What if I left the Badlands?
What do you got out there?
Finished the first season, it was extremely difficult. I mean, we know why. Our main goal was to put martial arts on American television. And we know why that hasn't been done before, because it's very, very challenging, very, very difficult. I think, of all the projects I've worked on, over 60 different projects, I think this was the most difficult. But luckily I came out of it without any injuries. I had a cracked rib, but that was about it, and so I'm okay. Well, he's not very likable in the beginning because he's a trained killer. As the story starts, he's killed 404 people without any kind of remorse or regret. And so he's a, cold-hearted killer.
Each mark represents a life Sonny has taken.
But as the story evolves, he starts to change. And I think this is what made me so interested in the character, is that he changes over time. Lots of times in TV shows, the character doesn't really change over the course of the series. And to me, that's not very interesting as an actor because it gets kind of boring. There's no challenge there. And so what you really want to find is a character that has an arc or a transition. And so, as soon as the story starts and you see the story of MK, he meets MK, the young kid, who has a secret. He might share this secret. It starts to open up something in the character of Sonny and creates a change in him. So that really this whole series is going to be, my character at least, his story is going to be an arc from being bad to becoming good.
What if I left the Badlands?
What do you got out there?
Your show has got crossover appeal to both Chinese viewers and Western viewers. What do you think will appeal most to Chinese viewers, and what do you think will appeal most to Western viewers?
I think most American audiences have not seen this kind of fighting before. We in China have been exposed to this since we were very young, and it's all mainstream, right? Kung fu movies are a mainstream thing, but in America it's still a very niche market. So to have a show like this on a very big channel like AMC, and to do something very niche genre like this for general audiences, I think it's very new and fresh. Ideally, we want the same things to appeal to both audiences. So we're doing a lot to appease both sides. Essentially, this is a wuxia TV series, but set in a futuristic America. On top of not only just bringing kung fu to American television, we wanted to make a story that was that was interesting and creative. And so I think that side of it, the story writing that done by Al Goff and Miles Miller, our script writers, they created a world that we've never ever seen before in television. I think Eastern audiences and Western audiences will get something out of it because it's so fresh and new. The rain fight took 6 days. We tried to balance out because every episode has 2 fights, and we have basically 8 days to do 2 fights. You know, it seems like a lot of time, but it really isn't, because every day we're getting probably 80 to 90 shots in a day, and that's very, very crazy. But luckily we had a great crew that was able to work fast with us and able to make the days. On average, I think it was about 12 to 16 hours, depending on what we're doing that day. Obviously with the fights, they take a lot more time, so we shoot a little bit more. So yeah, very tiring work, very difficult work to do.